Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo.
All right, guys. So I'm here in the studio with Dianna Zintek, and so her husband came to us. I don't know how long it's been, 3-4 months now. About 4 months or so. And so you were a full-time employee, yes, right, when he got here, and so he came part-time, right? He got started part-time, and so So now you two are both in business together, correct, obviously,
I
right?
do full time with him.
Yep, yep. And you guys have a couple of girls, and so your mom.
Yeah, my mom's involved. I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old.
Yep, yep. So a lot of times when people get in business, they're like, oh, I want my spouse to be in business, because you obviously know that Frank and I are in business together, and we've been in business together our entire business career, I guess you would say. And so a lot of times people come here like, I want my wife to be involved, and it's just like, sometimes they don't want to be involved, right? Like that's not their program. It's like it was his or her, vice versa, Right. And so kind of tell me a little bit about this journey that you guys have been on together and how you decided to get involved and kind of what that looked like for you and your little world. Yeah. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit about what, your roles are now and so on.
So this was definitely something that Nick wanted to do. This was nothing in my vision. This wasn't like I woke up one day and said, well, my dream is to, get in and sell life insurance. This was definitely something that I saw Nick do first. He went ahead and got the blueprint, brought it back home and said, hey, Dianna, I really think this is going to work out. I saw how inspired he was. I saw how, full force he went in with this, just saying, we're going to make this work. Yeah. And just seeing him, how persistent he was, because as many people know, he did have a full-time job working for the government. So this was something that, for me, it was something new. I'm very worried. I'm like, you're about to leave your whole full-time job. He's looking at me like, I want you to leave your full-time job. I was actually a project coordinator, and just leaving that and making the money that we were making, it was something scary. That's a whole leap of faith that you have to do right there. And to pursue what is your partner's dreams, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of praying. It takes a lot of faith. And that was one of the things that I went for. I said, you know what, if he sees this goal, he sees this vision. Nick has never been the type that has failed me on anything that he said. He's very, onto his word. So I went ahead, took this leap, and here we are now, 4 months, doing this full time. It's not easy. A lot of people think that, just because you work from home and, you have more time with the girls. No, because you are running your own business now, there is a lot that comes into play that people don't really see. It's, you have more time to have fun and, do this, and you can do your own schedule. It's not like that. It's, you really got to grind it out. This was, for us, this was a sink or swim moment. It was, we really had to pull everything that we had. Thankfully for my mom, she has been really our backbone. She was there to help us out. She's continuous there to helping us out. And I don't even think we could have done this without having somebody so supportive. To me, my biggest thing is if you have a support team that is willing to help you, that it's saying, hey, you go do your thing while we are here to help you, take it. You are blessed to have that. And that's what happened in this situation. We had a great support team. I had Nick to support me, vice versa. This is a thing that you bounce off of each other. I'm sure that you and Frank have had those moments where, you're like, I don't know if I could really do this. But then you got Frank that's like, you got this. We did not come this far just to say we can't do this. Yeah. So that was one of these moments.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And it is true. It does take a village, right? Absolutely. You do have to be very structured. You have to have stuff lined up. You have to have babysitters lined up, but you were already doing that in a job. Like, I think some people get confused. It's like, you already had babysitters lined up when you had a job. Yes. It's just then you were telling somebody else when you were going to be, they were telling you when you should be there. Now you get to predict what your schedule looks like. Yes, we don't it's not like a free for all, but it's just a structured day. That's all. Absolutely. And our support system we have them structured to help us out too. I know for us, every Wednesday night, my mom came over, she made dinner on like another night, Frank's parents, but they enjoyed the time. It wasn't like they were babysitting. It was just a time to spend with the kids. So it doesn't feel like it was like, this like, weird situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it worked for us, but everybody kind of knew their part that they played. And we all had just a very good game plan that was executable for everybody. everybody. Everybody's on the same page. But I think the piece that I think sometimes spouses don't really pick up on is you had faith in your spouse that he was going to make it happen.
Absolutely.
And he had never shown you otherwise before that. And I think sometimes like people are kind of like wondering like, why isn't my spouse on board? It's like, have you given your spouse a reason to trust that they should be on board with you?
Yeah. Where are the receipts at?
Yeah.
And that's what Nick had.
Yeah.
He was showing me constantly like, you know, we're going to do this and we're going to plan it out. I mean, he drew out the whole entire vision for me to see. It wasn't just like, hey, babe, do you think you would actually be cut for this? It wasn't that. It's, I know you're cut for this. You're over there building a whole other empire for somebody else. Come on board with me to build our last name. Let's build up the Zentex.
Yeah.
That's what Nick had. So a lot of spouses actually fail to just say, let me guide you on what I'm looking at. There's not always this, the mentality sometimes that's there. It's, oh, you know, we're going to learn as we go. No, some people like me, myself, I need a little bit of a structure of saying, guide me where I'm going. Let me see the vision that you're seeing. Open up a little bit of the clouds. That's what happened here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think too, he has great work ethic, right? Mm-hmm. So, absolutely. I mean, you know, some of us, I mean, I hate to say it, but some of these folks, I'm like, well, your work ethic isn't lining up. Maybe if we just, how about we just go to work, show her? Cause he was working 3 jobs really.
3 jobs.
Before he said, hey, come on over here. Right. So he showed you that like, listen, whether you're in or not, I'm going to make this happen, but it'd be better if you were in with me.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your roles once you guys made that decision for you to come into the business and help him out.
Okay. So, like you said, Nick did have 3 jobs. Kind of still is balancing the 2.
Yep.
He was doing part-time as a fitness trainer. So that was early in the morning. He's waking up at 5. He's showing me his consistency. He was doing this for years. And then after that, had his government job, and then on part-time, he also was selling life insurance. And our role was, I was more a full-time working employee, and then at home, got off at 5, 6 o'clock. I was a full-time mom, part-time mom.
Right.
As the days go. So our role was more so I would let Nick, fully go on board on, he brings the money, because what he was bringing wasn't right there with what I was bringing. That's another thing too, when it comes to wives, we have to allow our husbands to fully run for that potential, because how can we sit here and tell our husbands, go get the money and show me what you can do, but we're not allowing them. We're there sitting like, okay, you're never home. You're not there to, help me with this, A, B, and C, but we have to allow our husbands to go ahead and fly and show us what they,
what their potential. Yeah.
Exactly. And then that was more so the role I gave to Nick. I wanted him to fully, just as he has supported me on a lot of other visions I've had, it was my turn to give it back to him. Yeah. So I'm like, go ahead, do what you got to do. He's waking up at 5 to go get the worm, and I'm taking care of the ones that are in home.
Yeah.
So that was more so our role. It was, he went ahead and fully took force with everything he was doing, coming home very, very late. But I was very consistent on, going to work, making sure that my girls know why daddy's doing this, making sure that everything is up to par. It's not just also, fully saying, hey, I'm allowing you to go to work, or it's let's prep this little lunch for, here. I know that you're working from 5 all the way up until 9 p.m. Let me put in a little lunch for you. Let me, go over and exceeds a little bit more, so that when he does come home, it's okay. We're helping our spouses out. It's not just I'm allowing you to go and do this. I'm the one who's saying you can do this. No, we're allowing them to fly, but we're also helping them go ahead and continue to build what their vision is.
And so now you're here, and so tell me kind of what your role is now here at Family First Life with kind of helping with the business. And
so now I set his appointments.
Okay.
I will say that out of all the careers I've ever had, this is by far one of the hardest. But it's the consistency. It's showing up every day. That's just it. I mean, everybody wants to take it for lightly of just saying you're in for a week, and then you're like, you know what? I didn't like it. But we're the first people to say, hey, give me a 60-day trial on this, and if we don't like it, we send it back. We want our money back, a guaranteed. Why don't we do that on ourselves as well, of saying, I'm going to give myself 60 days to see how good I could get to this, how, what can I perfect myself on this area. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I had to.
Because it wasn't easy, right?
It was not easy.
Yeah,
no,
it wasn't easy to start.
It was nights of listening to the videos that you have done for us. So I thank you so much, because you guys have really laid out the blueprint for us as well. And it was nights of me listening to those videos, and it wasn't just, let me take a shortcut. I could have simply said, hey, Jamie, can you help me on this? No, it's me going out of my way to really listening to how people are speaking. I'm listening to your tonality. I'm seeing how you're sitting during these moments. I'm watching every movement you're doing, because if you are doing something where I want to be at, you're doing something right. So this is what I was doing. I was consistent on just listening to people. I was showing up on the live dials.
You were in the office.
Yes. At first it was really hard, and you're my witness on this.
Yep.
The very first week, I'm like looking at you like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lack of confidence in your eyes. But now we fast forward, this is like month 2, I think.
This is my month 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, I got it.
Absolutely.
And how many people quit before month 2?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's, you have to nobody's going to perfect you except for yourself. You have to work on you to go ahead and do that. You have to go out of your way to connect with the people that you know are doing it good. And from there, it's uphill. I mean, really, like I said, it's really the persistency. It's okay with being under pressure. It's okay to go ahead and feel uncomfortable. That is what life is about. Because if we wake up every day, jolly and with our eyes all, all sparkly and fluffy tail, it's what is really life about then? We have to have the up and down, and this is what this path has really showed us is you will have your ups and you will have your downs. This happy day will pass, and the sad and mad day will pass also. It comes with the good and the bad. Yeah. So I have that's one of the things I've learned in setting appointments. You're going to have good days, just like I'm going to have bad days. There's some good days that I finish at 12 o'clock. I done booked 20 appointments at 12 or 1.
Could you imagine booking 20 appointments this first couple weeks?
No, not at all.
But it was just a little bit ago. It wasn't even that long ago. And I think that's so important for people to hear today. It's like, listen, like, you have got to be fanatical about getting good at it. And that's what you were. You were just like, no, I'm not going to be bad at this. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that other people can do it. I can do it too.
Absolutely.
And so you just, do you still like it today? No, probably not. I don't necessarily like it, but I do know that like, it's a lot easier. You get a lot less objections.
Yes.
It's a little bit, you're probably not getting like as many grumpy people. Right. It's just like, do you still have them? Yeah. But it's not that big of a deal anymore because you've gained confidence. You know what to say. You're not confused if they say something. You know what to say right back. So it's just, it's kind of like evolved over the last few weeks. And, we were talking earlier and I'm just like, so many people spend 4 years at college, right?
Yes.
To never perfect anything, really, right? And all you did was maybe 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Ish. To perfect something that's going to change the trajectory financially for your family and your kids and so on. You know what I mean? Like, what? People quit. So it's like, don't quit too soon.
Right.
Right? You didn't quit college after 4 years and you have a degree with $200,000 of debt and we're going to quit the phones after a week.
Yep. And that's the thing. It's not, for me, it was more so the weight of saying, if I quit on myself, I'm also quitting on my husband, I'm quitting on my kids. I'm quitting on the potential of saying, I really never saw the same vision with Nick then. I'd be lying to myself and to everyone else like, oh, well, I tried it. Well, how long did you try it for? How long did you honestly sit in front of a phone and really make these calls? Because if somebody tells me, hey, I was on the phone for about 3 hours. There's 24 hours. I'm not saying be on it, those 24 hours. I'm saying there were days, Jamie, that I was on the phone from 7:30 up until 7:30.
Yeah.
No interactions with my kids. I'm not seeing my mom. I'm really going through it. I'm really trying to perfect this area because I know that there is potential to grow in this business. There is the potential of making that money. You just got to go ahead and get it. I mean, there is no way. If anybody says, hey, it's the leads or they give you all these excuses, I've been there. At first, that was my first excuse. I think it's so easy to blame the most,
simple
easy,
things right there. Yep.
Exactly. So at first, that's what I was doing. I'm blaming Nick. Like, these leads are so old. It makes no sense. But then I would see him get on the
You're
the
like,
phone.
oh,
right.
Okay.
This is like the easiest thing I could go ahead and put that excuse on. But then I'm seeing Nick pick up the phone, and these leads are like 12 years old. And he's over there like, okay, see you at 3 p.m. I'm like, okay, There is definitely a way. It's just me. It was in me to find out, okay, how am I going to fix this? So at that point, now I'm looking at Nick in every aspect of every angle. Some people say, oh, well, you had it easy because that's your spouse. No. You have to know how to separate and divide those moments. There are days that Nick is my husband when we're doing this. And then there's days where he is just exactly my coworker in that moment. We're talking all business. You know, when earlier when we were talking today, there were times that I was telling Nick, like, hey, when you make these calls, your posture has to be up to par as well. It's not just like, oh, well, let me, you know, just if they answer, they answer. No, it's
when they answer, we're setting this.
Exactly. Your mind is already in that. What time is he going to say? Exactly. So that was the thing with Nick. There were moments where I'm looking at Nick like, okay, we got to, like, you know, really put the phone aside. No Instagram, no Facebook. We're not getting inside. We're booking these 20 appointments and we're going from there. And vice versa. You know, there were days that Nick is like,
pick you up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in this race of what we call, you know, pursuing our dreams or, you know, going after, it's going to be ups and downs, and it's going to take a lot of consistency. A lot, because nobody wakes up knowing all this. And if people are like, if anybody says, hey, well, you know, I deal with people on day, no, you don't know what it is to be on the phone with these people who can quickly just hang up on you. And that's the free, like, I don't got to listen to what you got to say. It's on the phone. Anybody could just bloop, hang up on you and it's done and over. The thing here is to have these people actually continue to listen to what you got to say, because life insurance is very important. You don't know how important it is until you're actually in the game.
Yep.
Because at first I was one of those people that I'm like, oh, I'm young. I don't really need this. Like this, I'll wait until like I'm 50, 60. No, this is the real deal. And this is why I also fell a lot into Nick's vision, because I'm like, it works. Like, this is what people really need. It's like, I believe in it as much as he believed in it. I believed in it too. Not just in the product, but in him as well. Yeah. So this is why I made so much. I was hard on myself. Like, there were days that, you know, my girls were like, okay, you're done. Like, you've been in there now for 4 to 5 hours. Come, get out now. And I'm talking about like in our office. Yeah. And there were days that I'm just like, I'm so drained. But then the next day when I'm booking those appointments,
you're hyped.
Yeah. I'm like, I needed those 6-7 hours in that office or in my room to really go ahead and do this. But a lot of people just want to take the easy way out and blaming anything and everything that comes their way. Would you do that when it comes to being a mom? I mean, we don't wake up and just, you know, once you become a mom, or a father, you don't wake up just knowing this stuff.
No.
You got to be consistent with it. And as you go, you're like, okay, now I know. I got to set a time for them to go to sleep, and I got to ask questions. And that's exactly what it is for anything and everything. You want to go on a weight loss journey? It's the same. It's consistency. It's maybe hitting yourself in the mouth a couple of times. It's getting back up and motivating yourself. This is what it is as well.
Yeah. So, couple pointers to part with when someone's first getting started, as it pertains to the phones, because that's kind of your lane at this point in time. What would you tell somebody who's first getting started? Let's just say, you know, they're the I'll give it a try type people. Instead of I'm gonna make it happen type of people.
You would have to, the first advice I would probably give somebody that's getting comfortable with rejection, because that's one of the biggest thing that people really give up. They're like, I can't do this because it's too many, I'm getting too many no's. But the second that you go into this business with the mindset of saying there are going to be days that you'll be rejected and you're comfortable with it, there's no stopping you.
Yeah, it's game over.
Because you're like, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
You have that mentality already that you're like, okay, I'm going to have good days, I'm going to have bad days. But my best advice when starting this on the phones, it's you got to be okay with being rejected. I mean, the best of the best. I look at Nick and I'm like, he's the best. And not because he's my husband, but it's because I saw it first. I'm in first row seeing this.
Yeah.
Till this day, he still gets rejected.
Yeah.
I'm in the office and we're doing live dials and I still hear from the best. I mean, there are people that are like, I'm not interested. They don't even allow you to talk. And these are like to me, these are like the top dogs. And I'm like, okay, you got
we all get it.
Exactly. No, there's no.
It's just how you're handling it. Right? How are you handling it right after that?
Yes. It's, you know, once that person says, oh, I'm not interested. No, don't call me back. It's all that yelling. It's just move. Keep going.
Keep it moving.
Keep going. That is one of my best advice that I would give somebody starting this is be okay with rejection. You know, it's nothing personal. In the beginning, that was, I told you, I was taking it very personal.
Yeah.
I'm like.
And I always tell people, after all these years of being in the business, over 15,000 appointments set, I know I've been cussed at 1,000,001 times probably.
Oh, yeah.
And as of I'm sitting here today, I can't even remember one of them. So if I can't remember it 5 years later, 2 years later, why are we going to allow it taking up any real estate in our brain for 5 minutes after it's happened?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I'm so glad you joined me on our podcast today, and thank you.
Thank you.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo.